All right, let's dive deep into Oliver Stone. Using his IMDb mini bio, we're going way past just a list of his films, trying to get at what makes him tick.
Yeah, I think his personal journey, especially the Vietnam War, it's central to understanding his films, why they're so powerful and why, yeah, they've sparked so much debate.
So, starting out, Stone's born in New York City, kind of a privileged upbringing, but then he drops out of Yale to enlist in Vietnam.
Huge turning point, not just some adventure for him, but really needing to understand that conflict firsthand.
He earned a Bronze Star and a Purple Heart. So that intensity, you really see it in Platoon.
Oh, absolutely. Platoon goes way beyond a typical war movie. It's like you're there in the grit of it because Stone lived it.
It won Best Picture and Best Director.
1986 Oscars shook up Hollywood. Platoon changed how people saw the Vietnam War on screen.
Completely challenged those old heroic war movie tropes.
Exactly. The grit, the moral gray areas, the impact on the soldiers, it's all there.
But even before Platoon, Stone was already making waves as a screenwriter.
Oh yeah, Midnight Express, set in that Turkish prison, wow. You see his skill with tension and suspense earned him his first Oscar too.
Best Adapted Screenplay, and then there's Scarface. Tony Montana, that whole rise and fall, so 80s, but also dark.
Scarface really digs into those themes that become classic Stone. Power, the American dream gone wrong, the cycle of violence.
And right after that, he directs Wall Street, all about the 80s excess. Greed is good.
Totally captured that time, but Stone goes deeper, shows the cost of that ambition, makes it relevant even now.
Michael Douglas, Oscar for Best Actor is Gordon Gekko. Perfect casting. But Stone wasn't done with Vietnam, came Born on the 4th of July. Tom Cruise as Ron Kovich, incredible.
Powerful shift from the battlefield to back home.
Yeah.
What those veterans faced, it's heartbreaking.
Another Best Director, Oscar for Stone. Then he completes the trilogy with Heaven and Earth. This time, it's a Vietnamese woman's perspective.
Such a bold move, constantly challenging the usual narrative. War impacts everyone. Heaven and Earth makes you see that.
Stone's drawn to these controversial moments in history, like next comes JFK.
Diving into the Kennedy assassination. Meticulous research, but also open to alternative theories.
JFK was huge, loved by some, hated by others, tons of debate.
That's Stone's signature. He's a provocateur, wants his films to spark those conversations.
8 Oscar nominations, including Best Director for Stone. And then he tackles another big figure, Nixon.
Not just taking Nixon down, but trying to get inside his head, this complicated man at the heart of American history.
Then a bit of a turn with Natural Born Killers, that murderous couple on the run.
Stylistically, it's different. Hyper-violent, dark satire, really jarring. Stone's taking on America's fascination with violence and how the media feeds it.
Super controversial. Some compared it to A Clockwork Orange, that brutal honesty.
But even with all that, there are moments of real tenderness, even humor in there. It's not just shock value. It's making you think about how numb we are to violence.
Before we go on, got to mention Stone as a producer, too.
Behind the scenes, he's helped bring some amazing films to life.
Like Reversal of Fortune, Jeremy Irons winning an Oscar for Claus von Bülow, and the Joy Luck Club, those Chinese immigrant families, such a powerful story.
And he produced The People vs. Larry Flynt, about the Hustler magazine guy, championing free speech, even when it's difficult, just like Stone does in his directing.
He's not just after entertainment, he wants to use film to explore these tough ideas, get people talking.
Yeah, his work grapples with history, politics, what it means to be human. It stays with you. He never stopped pushing the audience, even in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, like U-Turn, that neo-noir desert thriller. Maybe not as famous as some others, but it's got that dark edge like Natural Born Killers.
You're trapped by the situation, by your own bad choices. That's a theme you see a lot in Stone's work, right?
Totally. Then he goes and does Any Given Sunday, takes you right inside pro football.
That was different, genre-wise, for sure. But even in a sports movie, Stone finds those big themes: ambition, pressure, winning no matter what.
It was a hit. Showed he could still make films for a wide audience, but with depth. And then the documentaries, he gets even more directly political.
It wasn't a total surprise, though, right? Stone's always been vocal about his beliefs.
Yeah, but now he's talking to Fidel Castro, Hugo Chavez, really controversial stuff.
People were upset. Why give these leaders a platform?
But that's Stone. He's going to challenge the usual way of thinking.
He wants dialogue, even with people considered dangerous.
Trying to understand, even if you disagree, getting the full picture.
Yeah, encouraging critical thinking, realizing most issues aren't so black and white.
And that leads to Snowden, the story of that NSA leak. So timely.
Super relevant today. Everyone's worried about online privacy, the power the government has.
Makes you think about your own data. All that information out there, kind of scary.
That's the impact Stone has. He makes you face these tough questions.
So big picture, Stone's done war films, biopics, documentaries, never scared to push the limits.
It's interesting to think about his own background. His dad was a stockbroker. That adds another layer to Wall Street, don't you think?
And his mom, French war bride, so he grows up with these different perspectives.
Mm.
Maybe that explains why he's drawn to global conflict, looking beyond just America's viewpoint.
His films often have that tension between idealism and then realizing things aren't so simple.
He comes of age in the 60s, the counterculture, Vietnam War protests, it all shapes him.
He's skeptical of authority, questioning everything, wanting to show America's dark side.
So you've got that, and then he goes to Vietnam, sees that horror firsthand.
It makes sense that trauma, disillusionment, searching for meaning, it's all in his films.
And it's not just the themes, it's how he directs.
Yeah, that kinetic energy, quick cuts, multiple cameras. You're right there with those soldiers in Platoon. It's chaotic.
He doesn't want you just watching, he wants you to feel it.
Music, too, mixing genres, really sets the mood.
Like The Doors and the Doors, it's not just background, it's part of the story, part of Jim Morrison's character.
It's like the music becomes another voice, expressing all that inner turmoil.
And how Stone's career has evolved. From those raw, personal films like Platoon, Born on the 4th of July, and then these huge historical epics, JFK, Alexander's Jam.
He grew as a filmmaker, trying different things, but always focused on people. Even in those big stories, it's about individuals caught in history, making choices, facing the consequences.
And he'll challenge history books, wants us to question, to realize there's always more to the story, which brings us back to all the controversy around Stone.
Conspiracy theories, glorifying violence, he's been called it all. But he's a provocateur. He wants to shake things up, make us think.
It's like he's always asking, are you really paying attention? Are you questioning what you're told?
And that can be uncomfortable. He doesn't give easy answers. He wants you to wrestle with those gray areas, see different viewpoints, how power works in the world.
And today, where everyone's stuck in their own bubble, that's so important.
Stone reminds us that disagreeing is good. Questioning authority is how a democracy stays healthy.
So, after all this, Stone's life, the films, the controversy, what's it all mean?
Oliver Stone is a force, no doubt. A visionary filmmaker, passionate, not afraid of anything. His films might be tough to watch, but they make you think. They matter.
His films will be studied, talked about for years to come.
Yeah, he's shown that movies can be more than just popcorn flicks, you know?
Totally.
They can make you think about society, about history.
Challenge how you see things.
And even in Hollywood, with all that money and fame, Stone still made films with something to say.
Films that make you ask those tough questions.
His legacy, it's complicated, but definitely important.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive on Oliver Stone, gotta ask, what about you? Which of his films really hit home for you?
And thinking bigger picture, what does his work say about art? Can it really challenge those in power? Make people think critically?
Lots to ponder. Thanks for joining us on this journey into Oliver Stone's world. Check out our other episodes and hit subscribe for more deep dives. Thanks for watching.